Hey guys, it's Natalie with the Expired Podcast. Thank you so much for one whole year of loving us and listening to us and helping us out with your constructive criticism. This is a very special episode because we are talking to Angel Bumpass. Angel is the one who pretty much started this podcast. She was our first episode, and it's just Macy and I who work on this podcast. We don't have a production team. It's all our hard work. And we were new, so we were just figuring everything out. So to start off this week's episode, we are going to recap Angel Bumpass's case, how it all went down, and then we're going to talk to her live in the Expired Podcast studio, so we're really excited. So in 2009, Angel was 13 years old. She was in middle school. She literally went to school, came home. That was a typical day for her. She lived with her grandparents. Her grandparents did odd jobs. The grandfather, he did a lot of maintenance work for people, handyman work. Angel was a very shy child. She was the oldest of several brothers and sisters. Her mom was incarcerated, as that's why she was with her grandparents. And in 2009, a man in Chattanooga named Franklin, he went by Cookie, Franklin Bonner, was killed by suffocation after a burglary went wrong. They taped his hands and feet, and they also taped around his entire face, and that is how he died. He died from suffocation. And then the case kind of went cold. There wasn't a lot of information on the case until almost 10 years later, when Angel Bumpass got a ticket and failed to appear for court. A warrant was then put in place. They took her fingerprints, and the fingerprints matched fingerprints found at the scene of Franklin Bonner, his residence. So 10 years later, she had moved to Kentucky. She had 2 children. She was in nursing school. A pretty normal life. And she gets a knock at her door one day, and the nightmare begins. She's in jail for 4, almost 5 years when you combine everything. She was featured on Accused, Guilty or Innocent. Really great backstory if you want to watch more on her case. Her fingerprint was found on a piece of duct tape that was on the victim. She would have been 13. This case is all about injustice and some of the unjust things that happen to so many others that are incarcerated. So we hope that this does our first episode justice, because our first episode was so chuggy. It was so bad. So we're really excited that Angel was able to get new attorneys, go back to court. I was actually there when she got released. It was amazing. So yeah, we're really excited for her and her future with her daughters. So without further ado, Angel Bumpass sits down with us, the Expired Podcast.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. I love your hair.
Yes.
Like,
you look beautiful.
Yes. And I wish I could pull off a hair color like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would look like a fool. Man.
It's such an honor to have you here. Like, you were our first case.
Mm-hmm.
And we did not do justice to that episode. It was our first ever,
we were rookies.
And now we've been doing this for a year, and I feel like this is the perfect time to have you on and just tell your story and how everything came about.
It's also interesting, Natalie and I, we were talking about how we were nervous, like, before you got here. And I never get nervous. Like, nothing makes me nervous. And I was like, I'm kind of nervous too.
Yeah.
It's our first ever guest on Expired. So
Mhm.
thank you for sitting down with us, and a year literally like to the day
Yeah.
from when we first covered the case. But
Mhm.
I'm excited.
Yeah. It's going to be a good episode.
Do you want to start us out?
Sure.
Okay.
Angel Bumpass, what was your childhood like?
My grandmother actually, because she was super strict on me all the time. But the summer I graduated 9th grade, my grandmother actually let me hang out at other people's houses, and so I had this bit of freedom. And then when school came around, it was like taken, and I was like, no, like I'm not going to not be able to go nowhere, not have a cell phone. Like it was crazy. So yeah, I went on the crazy rebellious. Yeah, I went on the crazy rebellious thing.
You gotta figure it out. I feel like I was the same way.
Yeah, I think everyone is. You always get this like wild streak in you, and you want the freedom.
You think you can do it all by yourself.
Yeah.
You have all the answers. Oh man, and my oldest is about there.
Yeah.
Stressful, so stressful. Did you like school? Like, if you did, like, what was your favorite subject, or what did you enjoy about school?
I enjoy math. I mean, that's always just been an easy subject to me, and I like writing, but school, I didn't really have a household where they like praised school, so it was just like, I know I have to get this done, I know I have to get a degree, but it wasn't like something I was
It's
like,
more of just like
just
a
enjoy it.
necessity, not.
Yeah.
So,
It's like I know I have to do it, so I'm gonna do it. I always had perfect attendance, so that's the thing. But,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hated math.
I hated math too.
To this day, hate math.
I do too. But we both really love writing. She's a bestseller. Have you ever thought about writing a book about your experience?
I think
Yeah, I
you
am in
should.
the moments of writing it. It's just a lot that goes into it.
Yes.
And I'm also like getting my life back together. So it's like when you have the time, I rather it to be good than it to be something rushed.
Yeah,
and
just do it
not,
halfway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll give you a bit of advice. You can get them off Amazon or like packs of them at the dollar store. Little notebooks and keep them everywhere, like on your nightstand, by your bed, in your car, in your purse, and a pen or a pencil. And anytime you're thinking about something, even if you don't have time to like write it all down, just write down what you're thinking about to come back to later. And for me, that really kind of simplifies I hope I'm not forgetting something.
Right, yeah.
I hope I'm telling this the way that I remember it and not just comparing it to going through something similar.
Right.
That helps a lot, especially when it's more of a memoir type of book. Definitely do that. Saves a lot of time.
Yeah. Okay, trigger warning. Do you remember February 16th of 2009?
No.
No.
Yeah, no.
It was just a typical Friday.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, all I know is that I was at school that day because the record shows that day, and that's all that. But that's not a day that stands out. It's not a holiday. It's not anything.
And you were 14 at the time, right?
I was 13.
13, okay. Lord, I couldn't tell you.
No.
No. Over a decade
Hardly a
ago.
single
Yeah.
day of being 13.
No, me either.
Man.
That's wild. And your typical, afternoon or day was go to school, go home. Go to school, go home.
That's
That's what you did. I mean.
Yeah. Literally, I'm trying to think. I really cannot remember. I mean, I can think of, what grade I was in, what teachers I had, or what softball team I was on. But
Not what you were doing in the middle of February on a random day.
absolutely not.
No, never.
Absolutely not. To backpedal just a little bit, do you have siblings?
I have a lot of siblings.
Okay. Did that play a part in you wanting to leave your house?
I mean, since I'm the oldest, I do get that typical older responsibility, anything they do falls on me, and I guess I didn't want to be the sister, mom, or if you're an older sibling, you get it, you're kind of the mom to your siblings without wanting to be. But no, I kind of just was being selfish, thinking of myself. I think if I was thinking about them,
teenagers should do.
if I was thinking about them, I think I would have not left and wanted to make sure they stay in school and don't get in trouble and all of that. But no, I was 100% thinking to myself, like, I want some freedom. I want to date. Like, I
don't want to deal
stuff.
with this.
Yeah.
That
I want
makes
to
sense.
work. I want to go out. I want to be on my own. And I did it.
Yeah.
What's so the day that you were arrested, can you like walk us through that day and how it happened? Because it wasn't, I don't feel like it was your typical like your typical process.
No, so I was living in Kentucky when I got arrested, and I actually was supposed to go to class like in a couple of hours, so I was up, but my kids were still asleep because they just sleep. I let them stay up late. But they knocked on my door, and I thought it was like a mistake, and I'm like, what are these officers doing at my door? But they just opened my door. They're just like, hey, can I search your house? And I'm like, maybe somebody's in the neighborhood. I don't know. I'm like, yeah, it's just me and my kids. So they searched the house. They came back out. And then I seen Chattanooga officers. And I'm like, well, what's going on? Like, because I haven't lived in Chattanooga since a couple of years ago. Like, I moved back and I moved back and I moved back. You know, you typically go back and forth. But I've done that. But I haven't lived in Chattanooga, like, in, I guess it was 2 years since then, since they came there. And so I was, like, so confused. And then they were like, we just need you to come down and answer some questions. And I had to call somebody to get my kids because I'm literally so naive to all of this at the moment. Not anymore, but back then I was so naive. So I'm thinking, I'm going to go answer some questions and I'm going to go to class and then figure it all out. But, like, no, I was arrested and detained and had to wait to get shipped to Chattanooga. And
so did they arrest you at the apartment or after you went in to answer
so
questions?
I was detained and I was taken to answer questions, and they asked me if I wanted a lawyer, and I'm like, well, yeah, you're charging me with murder, so yeah. So they hit the officer. I guess they were doing good cop bad cop, and he was like, oh, well, this interview is over, you're never gonna see your kids again. And I'm like, what? Like, so confused. Like, I'm on the phone confused. I don't know what's going on because they wouldn't even tell me like what I was arrested for.
That's
and then it
wild.
was a juvenile case at the time. I was in juvenile court, so it wasn't anything that I could just have somebody Google search to figure out what's going on. Like, I literally was blindsided.
Wow.
Man, that would be very scary.
Yeah, terrifying. I mean, you're just living your life.
Mad.
I would be
Were
too.
you angry?
I was mad after I figured out what was going on because I'm like, I don't even know this person. Like, I've never done nothing like this. So yeah, I was mad. I'm like, I'm gonna have to drop out of school.
Right, like this is just a waste of time and resources. Yeah.
And and the whole time with the attorneys that I had, they kept saying, oh, this is gonna get dismissed, this file's gonna get dismissed. So I'm thinking like this is just a waste of my time and just in general. But, yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
That is wild.
Yeah.
So after you are detained and arrested and getting ready for trial, did you always know that you were going to fight for your justice, or did you have periods of time where you're like, okay, I guess this is my life?
Is there a way out of this or not? Like, is this going to work out?
Well, I had one attorney when I was inside of juvenile court, and I ended up getting the attorneys that I had at trial because they came to visit me and they made all these golden promises. And again, I was super naive back then, so I'm just like, oh yeah, they're going to get me out of this. And I always just thought, okay, we're going to go to trial and I'm going to get off because they're not going to convict a 13-year-old. Like, it's supposed to be in a separate trial. It's supposed to be in a separate trial. It's supposed to be in all this and all that. And I was never aware of any deals being put on the table, so I don't even know if I was offered a deal. Those attorneys never even told me about a deal. So the entire time I'm just thinking I'm going to go to trial and I'm going to go back to my normal life. Like, that's just what's going to happen.
Correct me if I'm wrong, though. Attorneys legally have to tell you.
They do have to legally, but these attorneys, they did not do.
It was like they really didn't care.
Do a lot of stuff that they were supposed to do.
Yeah. Oh, man, that's terrible. Were these... Oh, so they visited you and were like, we want to represent you type of thing?
Yeah, so when I was arrested in 2018, and I was in Silverdale, but I wasn't given a bond because I was a juvenile. So during my little week stay in Silverdale, they visited me during that time, and that's when I switched attorneys because they were basically promising me that it was going to be over. And the attorney that I had, he wasn't acting the same way. Like he was really doing what he was supposed to do. Like he was telling me exactly what I was facing and making me want to take it serious. But I'm just so naive at the time. That's not what I want to hear.
Yeah.
So I went with the other attorneys, and it was like a big mistake for me, obviously. But isn't it bad?
Yeah. Another
mountain climbed, another notch in your belt that you're tough enough and
for sure
able enough to get through something like that.
After, well, I guess with these attorneys, I don't know if there was a time when you realized that maybe they weren't taking it serious enough or putting in the time and effort, but was there ever a time like when you were just like you wanted to give up on any justice, even whether it be before your trial, whether it be after the conviction? Was there ever a time where you're just like, I can't do this anymore?
Well, when I bonded out in 2018, I went back to once I got permission to leave Chattanooga, I went back to my life. Like I re-enrolled in school, got my own apartment, my kids were back with me. So I was literally just living my life as if nothing was going on. Now, there was a point where I wanted to fire those attorneys, but unfortunately, because I was living my own life, I had my own bills, I couldn't afford to keep switching attorneys like that.
Right.
And that was a point where we did a Ferguson hearing, and it's basically like, if you don't have enough evidence and you can't take it to trial, I'm supposed to get dismissed. And after the thing was over, the judge said, if you would have asked the person XYZ, then I would have dismissed it, but y'all didn't even go there. And so and at that point, hearing the judge scold them and say what they're supposed to say, I'm literally like, I fucked up, excuse my language, but I messed up.
Yeah.
I hired some shitty attorneys, and now I'm just hoping that when I go to trial, I could take the stand and speak for myself. But when I went to trial, they just kept saying, "Don't get on the stand. Don't get on the stand. Just don't get on the stand. They don't want to hear you. Just don't get on the stand." So they convinced me not to get on the stand. So
I remember seeing the footage of you with your attorneys trying to decide what you want to do, and then the moment they tell you, it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
As it was a point when I realized, okay, they're just doing it for the show. Because they're the ones that got that show.
Right.
They're the ones that reached out for it. I didn't know anything about it. I'm just a regular girl. You got to know on my life broadcast. I'm very private. But I actually didn't even want to do the show at first. But they kept saying, if something happens, millions of people will be able to help you, which was true. But I didn't want to ever get to a point where I had to have people go signing a petition for me or do anything like that. You don't want to go through that.
Yeah.
So
they manipulated you into doing
definitely
something.
Did.
Do you feel like it was the way I see it, and honestly from experience with TV too, is it's a blessing and a curse.
It is, yeah. Because it's it was good for so many people to get it out there and shine light, because there are other people in my situations who don't get that type of thing. And I, being in prison, I was around women who were fighting their cases for years, and it's dang, am I ever going to get back in court? Because you haven't even got back in court, and you're going on 5 years, so it helped. I feel like it helped bring awareness, and people want to, okay, we can fix something. You can't fix it all. It's always going to be people that's wrongly accused. It's not going to happen in this generation, because it's the older people that's there. They're stuck in their ways.
They're in the leadership roles too. Yeah,
so
definitely.
It's just not going to happen right now. So
this is why it's important to raise your children to be good people.
Yeah.
Because it's definitely going to be the next generation.
Yeah.
And from the TV perspective as well, I feel like maybe because it did bring a lot of awareness to the injustice that was happening, but it kind of sucked because it's kind of shitty because the attorneys were kind of slimy about it, basically. And Here, let
And
us
it's like,
represent you
it's
for
entertainment, too,
yeah.
that people don't understand.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes,
Yes.
it's a documentary, but it's
Yes.
also edited for entertainment.
Absolutely.
Just like people are always like, oh, your grandma's the last phone call. Well, no, she's not. And if you know anything about cases, if she really was the last phone call, then that's evidence for her to be arrested. She wasn't. She actually didn't even call none that day. But they want to play on something because they need the drama. They need suspense.
Tell the story this
And,
way.
and like that's fine, because when you sign something, you don't get to say so. You don't get to say so over the edits. You don't get to say so about anything else. And I'm just glad that I wasn't painted in a bad light, because it very well could have painted me in a bad light, because
It's very true.
you're not meeting a teenager, you're meeting a grown woman. And
Right.
I don't act like a teenager, I act like a grown woman.
Right. Exactly. That's a really good point.
Yeah.
So what was it like when you heard your co-defendant, who was so much older than you and you didn't even know, get not guilty and you got guilty?
I thought when I heard that he was not guilty that I was going to be not guilty too. Like I thought that what it was going to be.
I agree.
Like,
So when I heard that my own verdict, that's when my heart sank.
Yeah.
Like, and I was angry
We see
at
that.
my attorney.
Yeah.
Yes.
For sure, because it's like, dang, you really played in my face.
Right.
And there's nothing I can do. Like, I couldn't just hit her or anything.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you can't do nothing like that. But like, you felt like I felt angry. Like,
Taken advantage of.
I felt like
Yeah.
so sad. And I was just thinking about my kids. It was just horrible
I can't even
experience.
imagine.
I
Like,
cannot even imagine.
The strength you have to
Literally,
get through that
like,
is
yeah, it takes a lot of
you're a different,
mental strength.
You're built different,
Yes.
sis. Because that, I mean, and already having gone through everything up to that point too, like, as if that was easy, and trial and just all the headache of it all, especially when you're innocent. I think like that's one of the things in my mind is like, your kids, you're innocent, you were a kid when this happened, like, and then the adults that you're supposed to be able to trust, that literally have your life in their hands. I don't know how you're amazing, because I would have lost my fucking mind.
I mean,
I
day
would too.
2, I kind of knew, because my trial lasted 3 days. So on the second day, I kind of knew I was going to be found guilty, because the judge signed off for subpoenas for certain people to come and speak on my behalf, and they didn't even send them to the sheriff's office. So I was like,
Oh no.
really?
So no one came?
Yeah, the bus driver was supposed to get subpoenaed. Like, people were supposed to get subpoenaed on my character, and
they didn't.
And they didn't drop it off for it to
That's
go
your
get.
attorneys, right?
Yeah, my attorney. Those attorneys. I don't want to give them any publicity, so
Right.
I'm not saying their name.
We're not saying that.
But yeah, those attorneys, and it was just like, so day 2, I was like, I don't even think that they showed it, but when you do those little private interviews, like, I was vividly upset, because I'm like, they not even prepared for trial.
Right, you don't have a shot.
And I never asked for a speedy trial. That was the co-defendant, and if he wants a speedy trial, that didn't have anything to do with me.
Right.
Because it's my right to go to trial when I'm ready.
Right. When
And
your
I could
team's ready.
prolong it as long as possible.
Right.
So I didn't even want to do a speedy trial.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
God. I can't. I'm angry.
I know.
I'm like really mad.
I know.
I laugh when I'm mad too.
Oh.
So if you're like, why is she laughing? How long were you, after the verdict, how long were you in custody, basically in prison?
So, after the verdict, I just went back. Like, I didn't even finish listening to the judge. Like, I just went on to the back. And I was in county. So I was in Cyrodiil for 3 months. And then in January of 2020, I went to prison. And then the pandemic happened, so that I didn't even get back into court until 2022.
I was actually there.
In county?
At
No.
the court date.
At your court date.
Okay, I was like, what, girl?
No,
She's
I
like,
was,
what? I never saw you.
I was at your court date when that businessman put up
Oh, the bond?
the bond. I took a picture of you.
Oh.
and it's all, I mean, it's probably our most shared post.
Okay.
I'll have to tag you in it because so many,
That
no?
was so bad.
Oh, you were. You're beautiful.
know,
Your hair was
yeah.
beautiful.
200 pounds when I got up. I was 200 pounds when we.
I couldn't tell.
It's the big suit.
Yeah.
The bigger.
I mean, no,
Yeah.
you looked great.
Yeah.
I remember even thinking like, man, for all the hell she's had to go through, like it almost kind of looked like you were just ready. Like
I was
you
so
were in
ready
such
to
a
get
different
out.
mindset, such a different awareness, I feel like. And fight mode in a good way.
Mhm. Like ready.
Like
to-
I'm not playing this game again.
Yeah.
We're not
Yeah,
doing this
because-
again.
During the time of me being incarcerated, like, I had to educate myself on laws and
Mm-hmm.
different stuff. Like, I became a paralegal. Like, I was not
I was
kidding.
gonna ask that.
I was not kidding. Like, I was, like, so in the mode. And then it
Mm-hmm.
was, like, that TV show used to come on all the time called For Life, where that guy
Yes.
became an attorney.
I love that,
And
I'm
I was
so
like, oh, that's
glad.
my motivation. I'm
Yes.
going to get myself out of here.
That
But
show's so good.
I
So
already
good.
did hire. So when I was found guilty, my aunt Cordell, she actually went and drove to Memphis and hired Massey. Like she researched a lot this time.
She
and
was on the stand, right?
yeah, she's
Yeah,
the one that
yes.
did the.
I like her.
Yes,
search
she
and-
was.
Yeah.
She was
So-
strong too.
Mhm.
Massey has been in my corner since 2019. His team is great. Like
Yeah, I felt like that was a game changer
it was
for sure. That's awesome.
amazing.
Yeah.
That's really, amazing. So how did you get through that? Did you say how many years you were
So from
incarcerated?
20,
19 to 2022?
Yeah, so
2018,
No,
2019.
2020 to 2022
Okay.
is when I was in prison.
Okay.
For the county time, I probably only did a total, like going back and forth from court to, I probably only did like 6 months in county. That's still a lot.
Yeah. And Silverdale's no
Silverdale
joke.
suck.
Oh my gosh.
It's
And
not.
from 2018, from 2022, it went downhill. Like, it was horrible being
Yeah.
in
No,
Like,
that
horrible.
place is a freaking
there. Yeah, I had to like,
real life nightmare.
Yeah.
and that was my first time doing jail time anywhere. Like, I had never done jail time.
Right.
I've been booked because I didn't go to court for speeding tickets, but
Mhm.
I literally go to booking and leave
And
because I
then
already
leave.
made my bond,
Right.
so I didn't never
Right.
ever had to
Like
go spend the night in jail.
I have
Like,
court
never.
tomorrow for a tag ticket.
Oh no.
Well, I mean, I could just pay it, but I don't want to
You want
because
to fight it?
I don't have anything on my record at all.
Oh.
And it's a stinking tag ticket.
Yeah.
But I keep thinking, I'm like, I had a nightmare last night that I missed it. And I'm like, oh, gotta go turn myself in. I'm gonna be just busted.
Yeah, you will be.
But
now
no,
with
I-
traffic, you can reschedule, like
Yeah.
give it redocket
Yeah.
your court date.
How was it? Was county, not that one is better than the other, or that, anyone should go or do something to have to go, but like, what was, I'm assuming, and this could just be me being ignorant, I'm assuming that prison is better than county.
So in 2018, county, I actually made a lot of associates, friends there.
Mhm.
So like we all had our little clique inside of there, or whatever, and it was like fun to play cards with them and stay up all night and watch movies and talk. That was fun. And then I got sent to prison, and then when I came back to county was horrible. And it was like, dang, I'd rather just be in my own little
in your own little
cubicle,
bubble,
like
yeah.
all little by myself, can
Mhm.
pick what I want to watch, like
Right.
not listening to anybody, listen to the radio if I want to.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so prison is better, it's cleaner, but you just don't want to be it either.
Eat
Like,
any of
No.
This is a silly, like, just my own curiosity because I watched 60 Days In. How many were you ever incarcerated in any facility that had cameras or like TV, any sort of production show up? And okay, because I'm like, how many people, when they're actually doing like other shows,
Right.
how many like people are speculated to be the 60 Days In
Yeah,
I
like,
asked a lot
participant?
if I were 60 days in.
You
were
got
just
asked
like,
a lot?
Yeah, there's like
you just don't fit here. Or
You
you're
just don't
60
fit.
days in.
That's
I was like, no.
funny, and you
That-
love the show, so it was like,
No, I watched. They played a lot on. They didn't have cable in Nashville, but I watched every season because they played it a lot. And I
Yeah.
was like, at this point, y'all, how do y'all not know?
Right. For sure. Oh my God. I just had to ask that
That's
because
so good.
I feel like anytime any place is shooting any show or anything, everybody is on alert then. Like,
Yeah.
there's a mole. There's
Yeah.
definitely a mole in here.
Yeah.
But no, that didn't happen.
I just started co-parenting with my oldest dad again this last year. It's way more enjoyable when both parties are ready, willing, capable, and want to. And I feel like you'll also notice a difference in your kids by being able to co-parent together as well. So that makes me excited for you
Yeah.
and your daughters, because it's a different world for them when they can see both their parents
Yeah.
making their life happen together,
Right.
even if they're not together.
Mhm.
It's
I'm always been 100% for co-parenting. I think when they were younger, it's just dads sometimes just they want to live their life.
Yeah.
They don't know.
They're not ready
Yeah,
yet.
like they don't want to change diaper. They want to miss going to the
Yeah,
party.
they don't know what their role is really.
So like I feel like that was a lot between us, and then our relationship wasn't great. So, but I never try to hold that against them. Like I'll never say anything bad about him.
Right.
Mhm.
That's their dad, and I'm
Yeah.
not going to put that out there.
Good
but
for you.
Absolutely.
I'm ready to start co-parenting and get back in the gist of having my kids, because it's also this like, ooh, I don't like the way you parent. Like I want to do
Yeah.
different. Like I'm a soft parent. He's not. So I'm like, don't yell at them.
Yeah. I got you on that. I feel like I'm the tough parent.
I would be the soft parent. Like I
Yeah.
would be like,
I don't yell at my kids.
I'm
Yeah.
the tough parent.
Yeah.
Like, never have, even when they were younger. I'm
Mhm.
like,
Yeah.
these kids, they don't know.
They don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah.
so are
I
you?
don't believe in whooping, so never have.
Yeah. Good for you. So work, school.
Yeah, I just graduated. I'm going back to school to finish my RN degree.
Okay.
I'm working here just at a job that's like non-related to my degrees or nothing, but it's just gotta have money.
Yeah.
But I want to like kind of open my own business, and I'm about to do taxes for this upcoming season with my friend. She has a tax business, and I'm gonna do
Cool.
like online for her, and I'm
Yeah.
super excited for that because I've started to learn so much about taxes. I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to get out of this bracket and get up to
And she just
higher
naturally
bracket.
is good at math and
I
likes
know.
math.
Come to Angel for all your
Yeah.
tax needs.
Yeah,
I'm
definitely
like,
come.
Taxes
we're about
are
to do
a nightmare for me.
We're about to do a toy drive here December 16th. It's gonna be in Memphis though, but just up for kids, small kids their ages to come get some free toys, and then we're also going to be approving for loans because I know how it is. Like I remember those days where I had to wait for them taxes to come. So
Yeah.
just to help somebody out, especially if they, and we have a 90% approval rate, so most likely they're gonna get approved for that loan. So that's gonna help. Like right after Christmas, you know, spend all
Yes.
that money on toys to make your kids smile. Like
Yeah.
I ain't gonna need to pay my car note. I remember them days.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah.
If you're
That's
lucky
so
enough to get a
cool.
credit card, you need
Yeah.
that to be able to pay it off.
Right.
Yeah.
No, for real, let us know about the toy drive because we can share it on
We'll
our
post it.
socials and stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Hopefully get a lot of toys.
Mm-hmm.
So I know we talked earlier about you writing a book and like kind of currently doing it, but building up to when the time is right. Besides that, because I feel like that answers this question,
Yeah.
but and then like all the law stuff you learned while you were inside, do you feel like you'll ever get to a point where one of your main goals is to like use your story to help other people, or is it more that you're going to use your experiences to show up for other people? You know, there's a difference, I think, in like publicly sharing to help people and be relatable, but I feel like there's also ways to use your own experiences to be able to show up for people.
Mm-hmm. I feel like because I've experienced this justice system from both sides. You know, my brother was murdered like 3 months after I got out.
I know.
And I know how it is dealing with the officers. You call, they don't have any answers from you, this and that.
Mm-hmm.
And like it's like, you know somebody, and then what they say about them is like, that's not true. Like, that's not how you act. That's not this. It is wrong place, wrong time, you know? And I just feel like it's not black and white.
Yeah.
And so you just don't know, and I would like to, I guess in the future, be a voice for somebody who doesn't have that voice, but as of right now, I'm just focused on myself.
On you, yeah.
On myself, on my
deserve to be.
kids. Like, it's
Definitely.
been hard grieving this year and still grieving, but
Yes.
there's a lot.
Yeah.
And then I just got these charges dismissed. So, in Tennessee, whenever you have a charge, it's on your background. So, I've been like a felon this whole year.
yeah.
I haven't. And you would think okay, well, people know you doing it, but it doesn't matter because it's black and white. What
yes.
they see on your background is what's going to determine if
what's
they
there.
want you or not.
Yep.
So I'm just now starting to get my own life back.
Right.
But I hope one day, in the future, I will be able to be that voice for somebody.
Yeah.
I personally don't agree with juveniles getting life sentences. I don't agree with that at all. I remember when Centoya got out, I was so happy for her. I remember hearing about her story, and it was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lot of other women that are still locked up currently who have been locked up since they were, 15, 16 years old. And granted, that's a major difference from 13, but still, 13, 14, 15, 16, you don't know what you're doing.
You're a baby.
You don't,
Yes.
you can
Yep.
get influenced easily by somebody. You don't know, and it's just to take away their entire life is crazy.
Yeah.
That's, wild to me. So
Yeah.
I don't agree with that at all.
Yeah.
That should definitely change. If anybody ever wanted to push that law, because, like I said, right now, I cannot get into
Yeah.
that. It's a lot that goes into it. But that is definitely a law that I 100% back. Do not give juveniles life sentences.
Right.
No.
I feel like there are other options, and sometimes hospitals are necessary, sometimes rehabs are necessary. But yeah, being a child, and all of us just talking about how we were at certain times in our life, especially young life, we don't know our ass from our elbow.
No.
And influence is a big thing when you're that young.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I definitely feel like there's other resources and other options that should come before something like a life sentence, for sure. So what do you want people to know at all about you, about the sky being blue? If this is the last thing that they hear, before they go to work or before they get out of their car to get their kids from school, or their comfort listening, what's something that you want people to know about you, about how you feel, what you think, anything?
Like I said, I'm super private. I'm just private in general. Next year, I said I'm gonna try to be more on social media because you can't get monetized from that. So there's just you always want that passive income, multiple incomes coming in. But one thing that I have learned through this whole thing is you gotta pour into yourself so you can pour into other people. And I literally live by that.
Can't pour
if
from
it's
an
not
empty cup.
benefiting me, I have learned to say no.
Yes.
I never was a person to say no. I always cared about people, put people before me.
Yeah.
But when you get put into situations life-changing situations, and you realize who's there for you and who's not for you. But in the end of anything that you're going through, you're the person that's gonna go through it.
Yep.
So just keep yourself in mind.
Yep.
For real.
I always say, at the end of the day and the first thing in the morning, you are who you have to answer to. So start your day well with yourself and end your day graceful with yourself, because you can't pour from an empty cup, and everybody else is going to beat you up before they beat themselves up.
Yeah,
So
true.
I feel you on that.
Yeah, I've learned to not let people guilt trip you. Because I read so many books. It's crazy how many books are in prison about manipulation and all that stuff. That's all they read. But I've read so many books, and it's just yeah, you don't have to feel obligated to help anybody. Especially if you're not in a position to help somebody, don't feel obligated to help them.
Yeah, there's a reason they tell you to put your oxygen mask on first
Yeah.
on an airplane, because you can't help anybody if you're not helping yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
Man, that's crazy.
Wow.
Anything else you can think of?
No, just thank you.
Yeah, we really
Thank you.
appreciate this.
Thanks for having me.
Very much. You've got supporters in us for life.
Thank you.
And if you ever do need, like, the toy drive stuff, let us know. We'll share
Yeah, I'll
everything.
definitely let you know. Get all the details going for you.
And you're going to have to pick some shirts for you and your girls before you leave.
And we will be sure to tag all of those amazing events that Angel is going to be doing on our Facebook, our Instagram, and our TikTok at Expired Podcast and at Expired Podcast 423. Find us wherever you download podcasts. Until next time, this is the Expired Podcast.